Today we are driving the Dacia Bigster. While cars are getting more and more expensive and an average price of a new car is meanwhile above 50,000 euros or $50,000, Dacia says we're going in the other direction and offer this one here, the all-new Dacia Bigster, for just below 24,000 euros in the entry price at the size of a Volkswagen Tiguan here. So this is, so to speak, the bigger brother of the Dacia Duster. Is it the best as for the price-performance ratio and the space inside? We're going to find out here with Thomas Nautigefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with our journey trim today in Indigo Blue. And we'll today also drive this vehicle here for you to give you all the driving impressions with the new hybrid. For example, this one also upgraded. Later, more about that. In the front, we can already see a strong look, this off-road look, where also the Duster is famous for. You can see here the Dacia logo has been updated a couple of years ago. And this is also one design that is typical Dacia here, because this is not illuminated here, but sometimes it appears illuminated, but in that way they can create similar looks, but at the same time save money. And here, LED daytime running light as well. And you can, of course, get different trims. The other top trim level would be the so-called extreme trim level, more with off-road focus. For the journey, you can also get these 19-inch wheels. These are the biggest ones that are available. Base would start with 17-inch, and the length here is 4 meters 57 or 180 inches. That is 23 centimeters or 9 inches longer than the Dacia Duster. They share a lot of parts, of course, but this one here, more length, more space on the inside. Roof rails you can also get as well. The rear doors are attached right here, a little bit hidden. Soon more to all of the interior details. In the rear we can see a modern signature here for the tail lamps, and it is relatively high still, the whole vehicle. So bad as for the aerodynamic efficiency, but good if you think about, you can also go off-roading and so on. There is also an all-wheel drive version available, and the trunk will also be very interesting because it has like a very, very large liter figure. Let's check out the technical specifications and so on when we take a look under the hood. So in this very vehicle here, now it's getting activated because we have it here running, that the battery, like the 12-volt battery, does not die on us. There you can also see how it's been running here like this. You can also listen to the sound. This is here the 4-cylinder engine. I'll turn it off for you. So this one here, the 1.8 liter 4-cylinder actually. And 1.8 liter is different from the Dacia Duster, because in the Duster the same hybrid is 1.6. So this here 0.2 more of displacement, and also the battery here, the high voltage battery, has a higher capacity here at 1.4 kilowatt hours. It's 1.2 in the Duster. So this one here, let's say, adapted to the larger vehicle. Acceleration figure, however, is still a little bit under 10 seconds. So yeah, it's still a slouch as for the acceleration and so on, but it's also not the main focus of this vehicle. This one then here comes with the automatic gearbox, and it also comes with the very first adaptive cruise control for Dacia, available in the combination hybrid and the journey or extreme, these two high trim levels. And it will also be the first Dacia with the panoramic roof. We have that one in the extreme trim level, later also going to show that to you. Other engines would be the 1.2 liter 3-cylinder petrol engine. That one with 140 horsepower, 10 horsepower more than in the Duster. Also available with an all-wheel drive version. And once again, there will be also a LPG version available. And you can also check out the exact engine facts, horsepower figures and so on. We always have it in the video description and also in a separate data comment. Leah just asked me, isn't that the Renault key fob or this key card? Yes, exactly. Yeah, Dacia, of course, belongs to Renault, to the Renault group. And you still have this key card format here. Interesting. Then door closing sounds. Not too bad. Actually quite cool. And here also the integrated door handle. It's actually a very nice door closing sound. Oh, I also hear some welcoming sound as well. Inside of the doors, this is where it becomes to be a little bit basic, but then again, you also don't want to pay for anything unnecessary. Then you have this Y design here at the inside of the doors. Actually nicely done. No covering at the inside, of course, but I mean, Some BMWs don't even have that. And then the steering wheel, all animal-free material. It's a hybrid leather red, feels good, looks good. Also real buttons at the steering wheel here, for example. And if you have the hybrid, this is very big news here now. If you have the hybrid and the Extreme or Journey trim level, first ever adaptive cruise control for a Dacia. And we're also going to test that for you very soon. Then about the seats, you have base fabric seats in 2 base trims. This is here the Journey trim, and this is a micro cloud material, like a mixture of leatherette and neoprene-alike style, I would say. Some fabric on the outside. It's different from the Journey trim level in the Duster, because there you have like this jeans look. Some love it, some don't. And the Extreme trim would also have the micro cloud material, the same like we do have here. So advantage is you can wipe it clean easy. The fabric seats would stay a little bit cooler in summer in the base level, so it's pro and con. And then with 189, 602, there's a lot of headroom left, so a lot of space here from the inside of the ceiling and so on. So that's pretty cool. Steering wheel here up and down, in and out, manual control. And for the seats here, this one goes up and down, and here back and forward. And this one then is manual, and the reason for that is that they want to save some electric motors, because for this one, when you would have done this one also electrically, you would have need another electric motor. And yeah, I mean, I think you can also live with that. Now to the cockpit, which always has the 10-inch infotainment, so that's also standard. For the Duster, it's an option. It's just a difference that you can get 2 different sizes of digital instruments, 7 or 10-inch actually. However, you can still get this smartphone holder here with the so-called U-clip system. That's the U-clip system here, and you have these clips either left next to the screen, but you also have it down there. Not necessarily for the smartphone holder, but there's also, so for example, some...
For the doggo?
Yeah, when the dog wants to watch the smartphone, maybe like some, I don't know, cat videos. So you can also attach some cup holders there, or like a small torch. And there's also U-clip system in the rear. It's a very clever system, and I mean, you can also just attach your smartphone there, that's it, but you can also use the smartphone mirroring on the screen. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wireless even available. Soon going to show that to you. Here's like an interesting structure here in the dashboard area, that's cool. Everything hard pack here. I like the design here of the vents, also once again in this Y shape, like almost looks like part of the Dacia logo. And then here the glove box. There you can see that they also say, we do not care about if Thomas tests the glove box and it falls down heavily. But once again, I say for that price, maybe that's not the thing that matters, you know. And here the middle console, there's this high version available here in the higher trim. Otherwise, the other ones are a little bit lower, because here we have the automatic shifting lever. When you have the manual gearbox, then you have the manual stick popping up here, and then the whole thing here is a little bit lower. Also interesting. There is an inductive charging pad here in the front. It's not ventilated though, so phones might overheat. 2 USB-C chargers, but there are 2. And then here you have cup holders. They are not really adaptive, but you can also take out this whole thing for more space. And then there's also the micro cloud material here. Could be a little bit softer for the elbow though. This you can shake a little bit right and left, but still okay, I would say. And interesting is, yeah, in this really deep hole there, it's really, really deep. Look at that. Like I can almost hide my whole arm in it, and when I then feel I know what you're thinking. But what I just want to tell you is, it's actually ventilated. Like, it's cool, so I can open, like, this must look very weird. I can open this ventilation hole there, really deep down. It's no way we can film it actually, because it's so dark in there, but I can actually open or close that one with some effort. It's like you have to like do it like this, you know, like right and left. And you can, cool it or not. Then the driver POV. First of all, here once again the buttons for the adaptive cruise control. Looking forward to test this one. And here you can adjust something of the instruments in 10-inch, the bigger ones, clear to read. So that definitely does the job. Then the main infotainment system, you can see you have this smartphone integration. This is wireless Apple CarPlay here at the moment. There we go. And you also have the space system. So because they keep it simple, it's also actually, kinda responsive. So I think it also does the job. It also offers an integrated GPS. Yeah, this is probably a pre-series version, but I think it will not be relevant at all because you will use this one here anyways. And then here you have also the heated steering wheel and heated seats. You will also activate there when the engine is running. My favorite feature is down here, and also greetings to all members of the Audi group, because this is how Audi used to make it sound when you use the climate unit. And now Dacia is doing it, and Audi not anymore. And here, this is a version with panoramic roof. There we go, you have this shade, and it's really a roof you can actually open. And the opening is actually quite large. And here, this is a middle console with the manual shifter, so longer stick. Different here with the cubby holes, for example. And the whole middle console is lower, so otherwise it would be like this in the automatic. And then the cup holders also have a different design here, and also this cubby hole there. And this one is also not cooled then. And this is here the extreme trim level, also with the micro cloud on the inside, also on the outside, then this yeah, greenish color. Let's define it later maybe. Then here you can see the extreme trim level also gets the floor mats, which are for this rugged use, so you can also easier clean them and so on. Let's take a look here at the rear seats. First of all, the structure at the inside. But it's all hard pack material here, also inside of the doors and so on. And then the micro cloud seats in the journey trim as well. You can wipe them clean easy as for the rear as well. For the kids, for example, Isofix on the outside. And if you want to fold the seat, so there's like a seat belt holder that takes it in place here. When you remove that one to the side, then you pull these straps here, and then you can fold also already from here. There's an easier way here. Top tether, by the way, there's an easier way to unlock it remotely from the trunk. And also interesting, if you just fold with this strap here, this middle part, then you have the cup holders embedded here. It's a funny two-in-one solution, so to speak, also with a smartphone holder. It's like thought like this, you know. However, if you want to look down there, I doubt that's a good idea. Then maybe the kids will get sick a little bit. So, and then we have two USB-C chargers in the lower part, and here one more clip for this U-clip system. And then here, headroom with 189, 602, a lot of headroom left. Nice grey fabric sealing as well. And yeah, the grab handles. This is where they did not save any money. I mean, you have 3 grab handles, only for the driver you don't have one. But here you can hold on tight when off-road driving and so on. And then you have also space here when a tall person is driving. So once again, for the price that you pay, good offering of space here, definitely. And even more, of course, than in the Duster, where this is like the main difference here in the rear. In the trunk, 670 liters up to 2,000 liters. What does it mean? Sounds a lot. Is it really? Let's take a look right here. So first of all, you see here the trolley fits underneath the cover as well. And then this cover here is, it's kind of thin. So there you also see like the cost saving. And then it slides back either in this position or in the last one. Yeah, I mean, I've seen better covers, definitely. Then here, the width is in the lower part here, 1.40 meters. Here also between the wheel arches, then here a little bit wider. If you would take everything into account, then it's even 700 liters. That's very interesting. Then here the length is a little bit more than 1.40 meters. And the height here is at about 28 inches or 72 centimeters. So very good dimensions. Then you can put this one up as a split, put things underneath. This is an interesting, yeah, there you can see like the basic thought here about this vehicle.
Can you open this one?
No.
Ah, okay.
That's not
cool.
That's not meant to be opened.
Wet things, yeah.
And then here you can lift up this cover here. There we go. And we can of course also fold the seats. And the cool thing is that we also have a remote unlock here and here. There we go. And then let's take the full length measurement. And to the seats as I would be driving, we're here at 73 inches Or you see here, that's 1 meters 90. So yeah, 1 meter 85, something like that. So indeed, great dimensions here as for the space. So that's the thing about this vehicle. And of course, so much more space in comparison also to the Duster. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Dacia Bigster, the big brother of the Duster, and we drive it here today in the hybrid, which will be probably the most sold engine then here for the Bigster. And this is the only chance to drive an automatic gearbox, which is of course always relaxing for inner city traffic and so on. And you already feel that you can drive it actually even with some recuperation. This 1.4 kilowatt hour small battery. So here in the B mode, I lift my foot off the throttle and there's significant recuperation. However, you can also pull it back here and then you're in a D mode again. So you can just switch how you like it. And yeah, in the D mode, it's also recuperating, but not that strong already. And what pays off in the end, it really depends on how you drive or what you like better actually. There's also recuperation, of course, when I'm going on the brakes. And here, let's see when we accelerate out here in city traffic. Let this car pass. You have sometimes electric moments. At the moment you hear that the combustion engine is running. Sometimes it's doing it without. Steering here 90 degrees. You have to see I have to steer a lot. This is still from this off-road background from the Duster, also transported to the Bigster. You can see from the exterior that you have to steer a lot in comparison to other nowadays vehicles. But there's no dead zone area from the steering, so there's always something happening basically. You have not the most natural feeling of the steering wheel, let's take it that way. Not much resistance, but overall I think it's fine. It also has this interesting form, and the material feels really good here. And yeah, I feel it also feels better than the animal material actually, and it will also look better for a longer period of time. This is supposed to be like very efficient as well. At the end of the driving part, will also give you an update then on the consumption. You maybe heard already some beep beep beep. I was like at 51 kilometers an hour, 1 kilometer an hour over the speed limit. But for the tachometer on GPS, it's like 46, 47. And you can deactivate this speed chime here on the left side. Press it twice, and you can set a personal individual mode before what that means. And here, for example, in this case, then lane keeping assist is off, and also this speed chime is off. The two most annoying systems nowadays in vehicles. And yeah, this is good, clever feature to have it just handy here with 2 clicks, because you have to do it every time when you restart the vehicle. You have to do it over and over again. Yeah, that's the current EU law about that. Then, does it drive significantly different to the Duster? I mean, from the pure driving, yeah, this is the U-clip system here. You hear that when there's no smartphone inside, it can rattle. So either probably put a smartphone in there, or just put it off. Just to say that it's nothing that is inherent with the vehicle. It's more about this smartphone holder here. So Duster, you feel it's a little bit smaller. Of course, a lot of parts are like somewhat similar, and the engines are also similar in a way. But indeed, you feel that due to the high displacement of this vehicle, this hybrid engine, and a little bit more buffer from the battery, it's a little bit more sovereign on the road in comparison to the one that we drove in the Duster, which feels a little bit more annoyed at times when you accelerate it. So I really like this change, and it was also needed, because when the car is bigger, you also need some more displacement for that, a little bit more power and so on. It won't be a quick vehicle. We can also soon show that to you when we drive to the Autobahn. They are all like a little bit under 10 seconds. The all-wheel drive version even over 10 seconds. Yeah, so that won't be a sprint vehicle, but it's also not what it's meant to do actually. What I already feel right now is this insulated windshield. So the Duster does not have it. Here there's a special insulated windshield in the front. And that was where the most wind was coming from the Duster. So I'm looking forward soon to drive on the German Autobahn to see how much more silent is it really in comparison to the Duster. I feel the whole driving experience is a little bit calmer than with the Duster, and it feels more sophisticated somehow. And it was interesting because when we were starting to drive, and Leah told me like after like a couple of meters, like, wow, that's really better than the Duster, right?
Yeah.
So you're from So she
I'm
feels
for the
more
Bigster,
comfortable.
yeah.
Yeah, Leah is already a fan of a Bigster in comparison to the Duster. So, and
Not that Bigster.
the Bigster is always better. Yeah, definitely. Let's conclude it that way. So, but back to the car Bigster. So, I mean, I feel it's actually okay with the automatic gearbox here now and with a little bit more displacement. In the Duster, I felt I would rather go for the manual gearbox because the hybrid felt a little bit off. But it definitely has to prove itself now on the Autobahn. And now let's take it to the German Autobahn. It's the ultimate test for every vehicle it has to face when they visit us in Germany. So there we go. The famous German A2. Let's go. Oh, that was 50 to 90. Had to cancel it for a second. One more time. Woo! It was 80 to 100. So that's the thing, you know, if it would be a little bit quicker, I could have done it like in, you know, before that vehicle went past us. So, yeah, I mean, it's better than in the Duster, definitely. But it's not like a super quick acceleration or something like that. And sometimes it can be even somewhat dangerous, especially in Germany when cars are getting more and more horsepower and quicker, and you somehow feel underpowered. That's actually a thing here. Let's see, because we have another possibility to accelerate out here when we are already at speed. So when I want to do like overtaking, let's go. Whoa, that took long, that shifting. 140, there we go. 160, now it's getting a little bit noisy from the front windshield. 160, there we go. But it's not too bad, and lane change at 150, it's also quite okay. I mean, the suspension is rather soft, but it's more set on comfort, but that's okay. But it doesn't shake up too much, honestly. And here, like at 110, 120, the wind noise gets way better. This is more like a good speed to sustain also for a longer period of time. But since here we have the acoustic windshield in the front and we do not have that with the Duster, it's so much more silent in here. So definitely way better on the German Autobahn here, the Bigster in comparison to the Duster. And it's also somewhat more relaxed, you know, like this increased length somehow does well. And then the lower noise level, also that we have here like this, you know, higher displacement engine and also the bigger buffer on the battery. That all makes sense. And yeah, it's still not quick in the acceleration, but it doesn't feel so lost, this hybrid here, like I felt it would be in a Duster. You know, on the motorway I would say, I'd rather go for the manual. But here I would really stick with the automatic gearbox. All the engines are not really quick, and at least here you have the, like all the comfort features then with this one. And yeah, also when you're stuck in traffic and so on. Steering, by the way, here on the motorway, let's see how much do we have to turn when I do a lane change here. That's actually quite okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing that very quickly. Usually you would do the lane changes more smoothly, like this, for example, and then the car really doesn't shake up at all. Yeah, here at 140 kilometers an hour, I think it gets a little bit louder. It's more or less okay. But the question is really, after driving this one here, does it make any sense still to buy a Duster? I mean, especially in the higher trim levels, the price difference is not that large anymore then. And you get so much more in space. You get a more sovereign, comfortable ride. Also higher displacement and so on, especially if you think about the hybrid. Yeah, I think this really makes sense. If you want to have it for off-roading, the Duster still makes sense, or if you really need like tight parking spaces in the city. But for everything else, I think the Bigster just makes more sense in every way, definitely. So I see a lot of Duster customers for the next vehicle switching over to the Bigster. Really gotta say that. There are surely better Autobahn vehicles, yes. And if you think about this thought, hey, is it a Tiguan for half the price? As for the space we have on the interior, yes. But then again, driving-wise, it's a completely different animal. So it's night and day. The Tiguan is so much better on the German Autobahn still. So at some point you also see like where it's coming from with the price, but maybe you say, hey, I don't care so much about how it drives. It's really more important for me that I save money and get a large enough vehicle. And then of course the Dacia Bigster here makes sense, and way even more so than the Duster. Gotta say that here after driving it.
Wait.
Ah, wait a
New
minute.
function.
Once again, so important. Thank you, Leah, for reminding me. I'm somewhat, I don't know, not sure why I didn't think about that, because so spectacular. And I mean, you can have it say it a little bit jokingly. Now, the very first cruise control, adaptive cruise control in a Dacia. And you can see it here. It says here, set the speed with real buttons in the steering wheel like that. Foot of the throttle, foot of the brakes, no problem. And now the speed is kept to the car, like the distance to the car in front of me is being kept. All good so far. There is no active lane keeping assist or something like that. You don't need that as well. I can also activate all the other assistance systems. It's possible, but it's more like this run of road protection. So I can also just as well leave that out. But it does it very well, you know, like smooth, no hectic braking, movement or so on. And that also fits to the vehicle, you know, when it's a little bit more silent, a little bit more settled on the ground, a little bit more displacement than the adaptive cruise control. That makes it just more fitter and more suitable also for a longer Autobahn journey. It's not the one where you put it to the left lane and drive it through with 180 kilometers an hour, like 100 miles per hour with like a BMW 5 Series Touring. It's more like you rather stick to the right lane, let everything flow, let the racers go to the left side, and you yourself, you enjoy the rather soft suspension and now the added noise comfort here in this one, as long as you're not driving too fast. You can also adjust the distance here, like pressing here with the left thumb. This would be like now the minimum distance. So this is like for some situations then a little bit quicker, especially when the traffic is a little bit more dense, that it picks it up. And I'm always a little bit suspicious when people are standing on the bridge there, on the motorway, because, you know, there have been these incidents that people like just drop things down, which is like so dangerous. It's like, even if you drop a coin, it's like a cannonball at that speed. And sometimes people take their children up there, and on the one hand you want to wave back and it's nice, like, you know, just that the children are happy. And on the other hand, sometimes this has led to distraction of drivers and accident happens because of it, because they were, oh, I'm just waving, you want to be nice, and then they having an accident. So I would rather not recommend going up there and looking at the cars, honestly. So one more time here for the blind spot monitor. This is another part of the assistance systems. I have this small red dot there. It is appearing exactly in the moment where the car is in the blind spot. Yeah, we can take the exit now.
Makes me nervous.
So it's just appearing in the right moment where the car is passing, actually. And that is a very interesting thing, because most blind spot monitors work in a way that they are warning you in advance. This one, and it's like also the PSA philosophy, like Peugeot, Citroën, DS, now also Opel and so on has, that it's only there in the moment where the car is exactly in the blind spot. And you can argue for this or this philosophy, but I think the main difference is really that it's safer to warn you in advance. So yeah, but it's still good that you have a system like that. Citroën C4 Cactus is also something that's reminding me a little bit of this one to be like a unique car that has a soft suspension, for example. Yeah, very interesting. Might be a problem as for the pricing for VW, but might also be a problem internally for the Duster. But I think Dacia will be happy to sell you rather a Bigster than a Duster, because it's a little bit more margin for them probably like that. So they won't care if you buy a Duster or a Bigster. And we gotta say also to all the Duster fans out there, I think the Bigster will be the next vehicle then. And consumption for today, 6 liters on 1 kilometers for this hybrid engine, 155 horsepower. Petrol hybrid it is, of course, 39 mpg US, 47 mpg UK. I mean, could be lower. This was not like primarily using all of the EV capabilities, because it was also motorway, 120 kilometers an hour and so on, but also still a realistic value which we compare in a similar scheme to other vehicles out there. So the entry price is really just below 24,000 euros. Yeah, but I mean, you can say 24,000 euros as entry price. We have the German prices already. And then if you go for a hybrid, then also the higher trim level. And if you add some of the extras like the electric tailgate and so on, you can score some 33,000 euros for a fully spec vehicle. You will not have a performance engine or something like that. However, you have a lot of space on the inside for relatively small money. And if you think about last time we had a VW Tiguan in our test, the spec vehicle was 70,000 euros. So this one here in the full spec, less than half the price of a Tiguan with a similar offering of space on the inside. Where is Dacia not that good? Yeah, told you earlier, or we've seen in the driving review, they don't have like this explosive acceleration in the engines, so they are rather slow in comparison. Then of course the crash test results are not on the level like with the competition, which has two reasons. So the first reason is that they don't have so much stand equipment as for the assistance systems. And especially in the Euro NCAP test, that means a down rating. As for child safety, Dacia says that they expect to score very good results, but there are also some other tests where they don't score that well in comparison to the other manufacturers. It's also, of course, a question of budget. Yeah, and then, of course, you don't get like the most exclusive interior. But people who buy this vehicle rather want to say, hey, I don't want to pay so much more money for the other brands. And when I get, for example, more plain solutions on the interior, that's absolutely fine with me. So that's always, of course, a question of what is important to you. Interesting, definitely also, like for me, one of the main aspects about this vehicle is that it has this acoustic front windshield. That will be such a difference, like on the Autobahn once again, in comparison to the Duster, which is really, really loud at higher speeds. So that is better, for example, here in the Bigster. And if you think about that, the price difference to the Duster is only around 5,000 euros. This one is, so to speak, even the better price performance. So if you look at the price performance ratio, what you pay and what you get from the space on the inside, that really makes sense if you're willing to live with also the downsides of this vehicle, which we presented to you today. But definitely, I can already say right now that this one will sell pretty well. And yeah, the rain we had outside might be some tears from Volkswagen. Or what do you think about that? And now you could check out our Dacia Duster review. Or if you say, still prefer the Tiguan, you can check it out right now.